This time on the show, we're taking a look at Nemesis for the Game Boy. Let's start off by getting one thing out of the way. Watching the footage of this game, you may think that Nemesis looks familiar, and with good reason. In the US, this game goes by the name Gradius on most systems. Nemesis is the name that the series generally goes by in Europe. Why Ultra chose to have this version of the game use the European name in its US release is not clear, but to avoid any confusion, this is basically Gradius on the Game Boy. With that out of the way, let's get down to business. Graphically, the game may look pretty simplistic at first, but it's a game released in the first year of the Game Boy's lifespan, and in that context, it's not too bad. Many early and quite a few late-era Game Boy shooters have slow or choppy scrolling, which in my opinion makes those games almost unplayable. But Nemesis avoided this by keeping the graphics simple and the enemy count to a reasonable number. It's substance over style, and I love that about this game. Now, the graphics may be simple, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot going on. I mean, once you really power your ship up, it can be downright hard to see through all your bullets. It's impressive for the Game Boy, but it's also one of the game's biggest flaws. See, once you have all your guns blazing, it can be hard to see the enemy projectiles coming at you. The developers made most of them pretty big, and I've definitely played games that did this certain aspect of the shooter worse, but I think tuning your game so that most places require the spread style gun kinda makes it hard to see what you're doing. That said, once you're all powered up, you really don't have to dodge all that much since you're mostly mowing things down before you even get to them, so it's not as big a problem as it could be. On a related note, if you play the game on the Game Boy player, the added color makes it much easier to separate out the enemy bullets from everything else, so it's better to play the game that way if you have the option. I tried it on the Super Game Boy as well to see if it helped at all, but I found it to be even worse than just playing it on the regular Game Boy, so I would recommend that you steer clear of playing it that way if you can avoid it. My other major complaint is that at times it's hard to tell what's in the background and what's in the foreground. For example, in the first stage you'll notice that there are some cool scrolling effects going on and that the mountains kinda move with the background. The problem is, these mountains are actually part of the foreground. If you hit them, you'll die. So it's a tricky optical illusion sort of thing. I got used to it after a while, but I did find it frustrating at first. The music in the game is very reminiscent of Ultra and Konami's other works on the Game Boy, like the Ninja Turtle games and Operation C, which I've reviewed in the past. It has a distinct sound that all their games from that time had, and it's really great in this game. Now, whenever you talk shoot 'em ups, you have to talk about difficulty, and I'd say the difficulty here is sort of uneven. Once your ship is all powered up, it's pretty easy to work your way through each level and make it to the end bosses, but if at any time you're killed by crashing into a wall or getting hit by an unseen bullet, then the game will start you back at the midway point with all of your weapons totally powered down. Once you're powered down, the game is incredibly hard. Even just getting back a few powers can be extremely frustrating. So basically, if you can stay powered up, the game's not too bad, but if you die, be ready to tear your hair out. That said, the game has Stage Select and 99 lives available to you from the start, so if you want to make your way through it, you probably can with a little bit of practice. One more quick thing. Nemesis was re-released as part of the Konami Classics Collection Volume 1 under the Gradius title with color added. It's on there with the versions of Castlevania the Adventure and Operation C that I reviewed in previous episodes. So if you can track that cart down, it's probably your best bet, but it can be a bit pricey. In the end, I'd have to say that despite a few minor flaws, Nemesis on the Game Boy is one of the best shoot-em-ups I've played on the system. It's a bit short with only 5 levels, but it's pretty cheap these days, and I had a lot of fun with it. It's got great music, it controls well, and the bosses are really big and fun to fight. So if you get a chance, I recommend you pick this one up. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you next time.